Alright guys, going to do a overview video of the WPL 2-speed transmission. Now this is basically the way you're going to take it out of the package. It's going to be fully assembled. The motor is going to be installed. There won't be any leads on the motor, so you are going to have to solder on your wire leads. And here you can see the output shafts, shift mechanism where you're going to mount your 9-gram servo, and where it's going to mount into the frame rails. Give you a little size comparison of the motor to a US quarter, and it is just about the exact same size as a quarter in diameter, just slightly smaller. I'd say about 1 millimeter smaller. Now the first thing I'd like to say about it is the shift mechanism. When I took mine out of the package, this was rotated slightly inward, and it was a little confusing on how it was going to work, and then I realized that it was just simple just to push this away. That could become a problem in the future because it is just plastic that is friction fit onto a steel shaft, chrome plated steel shaft to be exact. I figure with use it may loosen up. Simple fix for that would be RC aircraft use these collets on their control linkages, and you can get one of them and tighten it down with the grub screw, and that would prevent the plastic from backing off on the shaft. Now if it were to go the other way, you could probably back this plastic out a little bit and add a second one in between it and the spring. Another thing I noticed about the transmission is it really won't engage second gear unless the transmission is being rotated, meshing the gears. So with that said, you're probably going to have to shift gears while moving slightly. So I would say either be moving slightly forward or reverse before you try shifting gears. You can see as I rotate the shaft, it'll lock into gear. But if it wasn't rotating, I could push all I want. It's just going to bind the mechanism until you get a slight rotation on the shafts. But that's the transmission itself. Here's the packaging that it came in. And included with it was a 9-gram servo and an accessory pack of the servo arms and screws. The servo itself is very low quality. It's just a cheap servo, like $1.29. You can buy these on the internet. Probably will work for this need. I don't see it being a problem. Inside the accessory package is going to come with the screws for mounting the servo and the servo arm screw. As far as the servo arms, all the white arms, you could just push them right to the side. You're not going to have any need for them. What you're going to be after is this black arm right here. I'm going to press that onto the servo. And then you're going to mount the servo into the mechanism like that. And then add your 2 screws here and here to mount it. From there, I would hook the servo up to your radio and find the proper throw for the servo arm. Basically what you're looking for is the servo to be at full throw once the arm is bottomed out. If the servo is still trying to push, it's going to strain the servo, and that could eventually damage the servo, or it's putting undue wear on the battery, the receiver, by putting a continuous power draw on it. So if that were the case, you can do one of two things. You can back off 1 or 2 splines on the servo arm mounting onto the servo, or if you have a newer radio that has travel limiters on it, you can limit the travel through your RX. Another thing I was considering is not even using that servo and getting a servo such as the 9-gram Tower Pro Metal Gear 90S. It's a little better quality servo. They're still cheap. You can buy these anywhere from $2 to $5 depending on the quantity you're going to want to buy. If you buy 10 of these, they're like 20 bucks shipped for 10 of them. But if you were to buy just one, you figure you're going to pay closer to $4 or $5 for just one. But it fits right in there, same. Screw holes line up perfectly. The only thing that's going to be different is you're not going to be able to use the included servo arm. It's a much smaller shaft, and it's not going to mount on there. So in that case, what you would do is get one of the included arms with the servo and just trim it as necessary to function with the shift mechanism. Alright, from here I'm going to open it up and we're going to have a look inside. Okay, you can see there's the motor. It does have a brass bushing on the motor. The pinion is 8-tooth. I'm not quite sure of the pitch, but it is an 8-tooth pinion. 2 screws mounting the motor into the casing. Another thing you'll notice is there is no bearings or bushings in the casing itself. It is just steel rods onto plastic. I also noticed that they were very cheap about greasing the transmission. There's very little grease in this transmission. So I would open it up and add more grease, and I would make sure that all these pins were greased also, just in case they rotate inside the casing. The output shafts, you're going to have to make sure they're greased well also, because they are, like I said, steel on plastic. So it's eventually going to wear the transmission with enough use, and I imagine you'll start getting issues with the gears meshing, and it should start making all kinds of terrible noises. At that point, you're probably going to have to replace it, but at $22 to buy this transmission, I guess it just, you're paying a low cost. You're going to expect it to be, a cheap build. As far as the shift mechanism, the servo is going to push up on this shaft, and there is a prowl on the shaft there that engages the next gear. Well, there's a quick look inside it. Like I said, if I were you buying this transmission, I would definitely open it up. It's not too hard. Just do it slowly. Nothing's going to blow apart. No springs are going to go flying or anything crazy. And just add some grease to it. Grease it up well. As far as putting it back together, that could be a little bit tricky. You're going to have to kind of pay attention to lining up the pins back into the hole. First one you're going to do is you're going to start the output shaft. And then there's a shaft right alongside the motor there. That's going to be your next one you got to line up. And you're going to grab onto that one and just work your way down, lining them up. You're going to get them all in pretty much, and there's going to be one that's going to kind of hold you up. Oh, it popped in for me. There's one that was holding up right here. If you just tapped it a little bit with a small X-Acto knife or small screwdriver, it'll pop right in place, but it went right in for me. I didn't have any trouble. From here, put your 4 screws back in and you're ready to mount it up. So if you're deciding to buy the 2-speed transmission, I hope this video helped you in making your decision. It is cheaply made, but then again, it is only $22, so it's what's to be expected for what you're paying. Okay, thanks for watching my video. Hope you enjoyed it.